Welcome to Acorn to Oak with Pennie Quaile-Pearce and co-host Matthew Donachie. Within each acorn, there is the DNA that strives to be a mighty oak tree. All it needs to reach its potential for greatness is to be activated. You are the acorn. On this show, we will share with you the tools and guidance you need to grow into the person you are meant to be. And now your host, Pennie Quaile-Pearce and co-host Matthew Donachie.
Hi and good evening in the UK, obviously good afternoon for those of you in America, and welcome to everybody anyway, whatever time frame you're in. We're talking this evening about a subject very, very dear to my heart. It's about epic spiritual entrepreneurs. Are you a budding spiritual, epic spiritual entrepreneur, or are you just interested in what that involves? Or have you got a dream? Have you got a vision? Have you got something that you feel you've got an important message to get out to the rest of humanity? And that may be, I think I put in the write-up, is that selling sausages, or is that being somebody with a unique message or a unique take on something that you would like to share with the rest of the world? So I'm just going to hand over to Matthew just for a couple of seconds so that he can add to that if he so wishes.
Yep. So hello there, everybody. It's good to be back. I think it's really important to get across with being a spiritual entrepreneur. It's more about who you are than what your business is, and it's taking that into your business. So, like Pennie said, whether you're selling sausages or you are helping people evolve along a spiritual path, you can do both with the same mindset. And I'm currently a part-time builder alongside my practice. But when I'm on the building site, it doesn't mean I'm not the same person I am when I'm running my clinic. So I've got lots to say on this. I'm really excited for the show. So.
Yeah, that's great. And, one of the things for me is, for people who are either looking to enter entrepreneurship, or if they're looking into feeling that they've got a message that they would like to share with the world, is, I suppose, the number one thing you must master if you want to get paid to change the world. And, the big drum roll here, blah, 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 is to be the change, is to actually be the change that you want to see. And I've been posting on social media, and the new Stratford line for me is the truth is. So the truth is for me is I slept and dreamt that life was a joy. I woke and saw that life was service. I acted and beheld that service was joy. And, this is very much, where Pennie Quaile-Pearce comes from. I believe in profound service to other people, and profound service to humanity, and profound service to the planet. And I live my life that way. And, this is where I was actually saying, being the change that you want to see in the world is what helps you get into alignment behind that vision or that business idea. It could be a business idea. It could be, as I said, selling sausages. It could be opening the post office. It could be helping people with, a physical activity like, exercise coach. It could be some form of coaching. It could be helping people lose weight and get trim. It could be a plethora of different things. But what are you going to take into that idea and, making sure that you are the change. I mean, I'm just going to, hold my hand up here. I could never be a personal trainer. I'm slightly overweight and I'm in my 50s. It's not something that would be congruent with who I am right here, right now. But what I could do if I chose to be a coach of some sort is I could help young mums with some of the problems they face with kids who are going through toddlerhood, because I'm a mum in my 50s myself, and therefore I can give a wealth of knowledge. So it's looking at something, and I love my son, therefore I love all toddlers at the moment. So it's something that you can be incredibly congruent about. It's something that lights your fire. It's something that you just think, actually, I would love to be able to take my wisdom and my knowledge and help other people find a better way of doing something. So it may be that. It could be, and one of the people that, who is a great friend of mine, another builder, runs his building company with very spiritual values, and it's teaching his employees to actually work things through. And Matthew, I'm sure will share with you that it was actually my friend Dan who got him involved with Acorn to Oak. So I'll hand over to Matthew for a minute.
Yeah, great thanks to Dan on that one. And I would say he was probably the first influence in my life on a spiritual level. When I first started working for Dan, I didn't know who he was or sort of what his values were. But it really, what he showed me is that you can take spiritual views and spiritual laws and a spiritual way of living into any business. And I think it really does sort of expand that business as well. A lot of the work we do is around emotional intelligence, and it's having empathy for others. So when Penny mentioned working things through, it's if there's a difficult conversation or if there's conflict or if someone's not feeling valued, that they're not going to perform as well. Whereas if you take the situation and you empathise with both sides and you give them the time and the space to own and be honest around the situation, not only do they get to sort of own their emotions around it, but actually they get a deeper understanding of how the other person felt as well. And what it did for me is it really expands your team. I mean, when you realise that the guys you're working with have your back, and I'm not just talking about having your back when the going's good, but having the difficult conversations when it needs to happen. And I found it really a great tool to use within business, because when everybody feels valued and everybody feels as though they have a point of view and that will be respected, they have more time for joy, because we spend so much time in our heads thinking about situations and things that we're not happy with, when really what we need to do is talk about those things, get them out into the open, so that you can then reconnect with what we class as heart intelligence. So we're not talking about thinking, we're talking about feeling. And ultimately, what we're all aiming for in life is to feel more love and joy. And when you can do that in your work life as well, and you think actually you probably work with the people you work with, you spend more time with them each week than you do your own family. So why wouldn't you want that to be joyous? And we don't consider it because we think, well, it's work. It's got to be serious. We have to be a certain way. And yes, we do. We have to be sensible and methodical with the way that we work. However, we can do it in joy. And if people work together, especially on a building site, really important with health and safety and that sort of thing, that everybody's on the same page. So Dan very much taught me just a very different way of being. And I found that the productivity among staff was doubled because everybody was happy and everybody sort of stuck together. It was almost creating a family more than a business. It's something I've taken into my life.
I think that is a real important point, and definitely, obviously at Acorn to Oak, we are a family and we are a tribe, and everybody does help and support everybody else, which is fantastic. And it's one of the things that we become isolated in our lives. And one of, the big messages that, I very much teach and help people understand is that isolation is what leads us into disconnection, which then leads us into dis-ease or, actual pathology. And I just wanted to share with you the 4 secrets to sustain an extraordinary life experience and I draw it very much on a circle. And one of the quarters of the pie is, obviously self-realization or self-actualization, where we understand who we are and we are open to growth and evolution in our own lives, and therefore don't get stuck in any of the dramas that are happening around us. And the second slice of the pie is looking at profound service. What service can you take to people which is going to be in the betterment of mankind? The third slice of the pie, which I think is incredibly important, is enjoying the journey. There is no wrong, there is no right, it just is. And, what we don't enjoy sometimes is some of the lessons that come in to help and support us becoming the change. And the fourth, and an awful lot of people will think this is the most important slice of the pie, is financial prosperity. Of course, it's important. We all have bills to pay. We all have, we may have mortgages. We've definitely got rent. We've got things that we need to take care of. And if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of making sure our personal authentic needs are met, it's really important to feel financially secure. That doesn't mean that, we go on to the next get rich idea, which we all get bombarded by the internet nowadays. Do this and become that, and you'll get an amazing life and make $2 million or £2 million or whatever. It's actually looking at, yes, you need to work out how much you need to be earning per month or per year, but it's also not allowing greed to run away with itself. But that doesn't mean you cannot be financially prosperous. Everything is important, and it's the balance of the circle. So that self-realization, profound service, enjoying the journey, and financial prosperity. And all of those 4 parts of the pie are equally important. And so it's just really important to realize that. And I think just going on about, we must be the change. Which means we need to be aligned 100% with the vision that we are holding, whatever that be. as we've mentioned before, best sausages. It could be coaching, business. It could be whatever it is. And, there's 10 essential keys to this. But being fully confident in the value that you provide, I think, is pretty much number one. Number two is being fully confident in yourself and in your ability to be the change. Three is very much believing 100% that your definition of epic success is possible. In other words, just know, if you wanted to, I don't know, create a sausage that was 5 miles long, can you actually do that? Have you actually got the equipment to do that, or whatever it is? It's making sure that it is possible. 4 is being an unstoppable force for the good in the world. 5 is aligning your marketing with your highest values. When I look at some of the marketing that goes on in our world today, and it beggars belief. You just look at it and shake your head. I know United States and England do things very, very differently. But I look at some of the American marketing and I just go, really? It is it's like, why don't you just put a gun to my head and say bye? And it's really quite aggressive compared with some of the marketing that happens in the UK. Having said that, the UK's marketing nowadays is catching up fast with America. Sometimes with the making people, buy now. If you don't buy now, you're going to miss out. And actually, using an awful lot of mindset, and I would say NLP techniques to actually sell to you. And, I find that quite repulsive. And I do find it, again, with Acorn to Oak, is very much about tell the truth, lay your wares on the table, and allow someone to buy it if they so wish. And it's, I could rant about this for the next 2 hours, but I won't. So, it's also being fully committed to your vision and playing full out. So that's number 6. Number 7 is being bold and willing to be out of your comfort zone. 8 is aligning your beliefs, perspectives, attitudes, and behaviors with specific business objectives. Are you living in your bottom line? And when we talk about bottom line, we're talking about in your bottom line is all of your values, your beliefs, your moral code, yakka, yakka, yakka. You store all of that in your bottom line. So 9 is being unique and your authentic self. And 10, again, having amazing and actively working on emotional intelligence. Otherwise, your business is going to be taken over by how you're feeling emotionally at the time. You need emotional intelligence to run a successful business. So again, handing over to Matthew so he can add anything to that just before we go into a break, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think what's important to remember, especially if you're running your own business, is run it with how you feel. So go with heart intelligence rather than your head. The mind is very good at telling you that business is all around money, and money is great. However, it's a byproduct of success. So I would always go with the feeling and run it with how you would like to, not looking into saving money so much. And we'll continue this after the break.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
I'm Kathy Williams, host of Sexy Mom Abundant Life radio show on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. On the show, we explore living abundantly in every area of your life. Ways to let go of limiting patterns and beliefs and to step into the flow of creativity and possibility, knowing you are supported by the universe.
We are talking about your life. Ever wonder, is this as good as it gets? No, it could be so much better. At Acorn to Oak, we know you are seeking more happiness, joy, unconditional love, financial freedom, passion, and purpose. Find your unique mojo and live an extraordinary life. Want to know more? Contact us at our website, acorntooak.org.uk.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Hi guys, so we're back and we were...
Hello, welcome back.
Yeah, we're in the middle of talking about epic spiritual entrepreneurs. So very much we were listening and to Matthew talk a little bit. So is there anything else you wanted to add there, Matthew, or shall we get on?
Yeah, just one point, just to bring up a couple of points that you already mentioned around lessons. So obviously, something I experienced a lot in my life when I had my building company. I was working with Pennie on, and I couldn't understand why things didn't necessarily always go my way, and the things I was trying to manifest within the business just weren't working out. And it's getting the lessons and reading the signs. And if it's your own business, very much if you own a car or you have a house, if something happens within that house, it's simply reflecting what's going on inside yourself. So that's just the point I would suggest for that.
I think it's really important that we all get to grips, and it's not being an entrepreneur is not necessarily about owning a business. It's being our own entrepreneur within, and it's taking that those values inside that we're all here. Entrepreneur for me means that you're socially aware. So it's bringing that social awareness into how you deal with life, and being the change. Very much part of this. The values of an epic spiritual entrepreneur is bringing those values to the rest of the community. And I know don't mean just your local community, I mean the global community of fairness. And I've listed again another list of some of the qualities that an epic spiritual entrepreneur need to master. And one is passion. Again, the second is belief. Yes, we need strategies if we're running a business, but it's also strategies of how we want to show up in the world. How do we want to be seen? Are we going to be a helpful person, or we have a a series in the UK where we have one of the main character is a grumpy old man, and Victor Meldrew, and he is a character in this what is a comedy, but it's actually he's the quintessential grumpy old man, and are we going to show up like that, or are we going to show up with humour and helpfulness and kindness and compassion? So, what is your strategy for life? So it's also getting clarity of values. What do you value in your life? What are the important things? And I was beginning to talk about what are those values and beliefs and moral code and all of those things that you put into your bottom line. What is it that actually if someone attacked one of those beliefs or values in the bottom line, when are you actually going to stand up and say, no, I don't agree with that. No, I'm sorry, but that's not who I am. No, that is not okay with me. Maybe it's a case you see someone dragging somebody off down a side street to, have a bit of a tumble, if we say in England, in other words, being beaten up or mugged or whatever. Are you actually going to turn around and say, no, that's not okay with me. Don't do that. We've lost our ability to actually stand up for some of our values. So it's about, again, clarity of your values. Where is your energy? Where is your energy base? What is your bonding power with the rest of your community? And as most things, communication is king. Everything is about being able to communicate, not just with yourself and all of the inner parts of self, but, i.e. your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, your superconscious mind, but also, other people in the community, other people in any tribe or community that you're part of. And these are the differences that make the difference. Passion, belief, strategy, clarity of values, energy, bonding, power, and communication. Again, these are the differences that make the difference. So it's just looking at it and going, okay, so I may not be wanting to run a 7-figure business, yaka, but I can still commit to being an epic spiritual entrepreneur because, as I said, entrepreneurship is about how you're going to turn up in the world. Okay? So again, Matthew, I've had my rant.
Yeah, I think a real important point. I think for me, my certainly what I'm working towards is a full-time clinic and then sort of a lot of coaching and guiding people. However, at the moment, something I sort of hit a bit of a wall on when I spoke to Penny, it was about a year ago, I think. And I said, I've almost lost my passion when I'm doing my building work, because actually really what I want to be doing is helping people with breath work and coaching and on the clinic side of things. And Penny said a point, and it was like, whether you're laying bricks whether you see yourself as laying bricks for a client or laying them for God, it's kind of like, lay every brick as best as you can, or stick every tile as best you can. It's doing the very best you can in every minute with every job. And it really helped me flip my consciousness on that actually now I don't see work as work. It's fun. That's what I'm there for. I'm not going there specifically just to do the job set. I will do the job set with as much grace and as much passion as I can muster. And I think when you do your job that way, with that spiritual outlook, that actually I'm going to do the very best I can, people really notice the difference. I have guys, if I'm not on site for a few days, I have guys come up to me and give me a hug in the morning and say, Matthew, I've really missed you. Like, we never seem to have as much as a laugh as we do when you're on site. And I think that some of that is boundaries. So I'm very, very firm on boundaries. So we have a saying, joshing. So it would be to lightly take the mick out of each other. And there's a lot of that on site, where a lot of us are sort of burly men that like to have a laugh, but actually we're very much in connection with our emotions. So I would say joshing is acceptable. However, the moment I hear an insult, like a direct insult, that's when the boundaries lay down, and it's like, actually we're not here to personally insult other people. We can have a laugh and josh each other and a little tease, and that's part of the banter of being on site. But it's having the firm boundary that actually nobody wants to hurt anybody's feelings. Nobody wants anybody to feel as though they're the odd one out, or that everybody's laughing and they're not. Because I think there's a lot of people out there, especially with the sort of anxiety, depression, they hear people laughing and naturally assume it's about themselves. So using certain strong boundaries and certain tools, you can have the most amazing fun time, even if you're all doing a job that you don't particularly enjoy. There's dirty jobs to do and wet jobs that nobody really enjoys. But if you all muck in and everybody puts their little bit in, it makes such a difference. And I think when you've got strong spiritual boundaries like that, you can reform the way you work. And it actually, you're so much more effective. I do checking in on a building site in the morning, and when I first used this tool, the guys literally turned around and looked at me as if I was crazy. And all it is you just ask people in the morning to put their hand on their heart and just own how they're feeling. And it could be, Matthew, this morning I'm really angry and I don't know why. And it's okay. And you go round and everybody owns how they're feeling. So everybody's already just doing that small exercise, empathetic to other people. So it's kind of like, Gary's angry. Maybe I won't start joshing him in the morning. And it allows people to really open up. And you'll find that someone may say, I'm angry, but not expand on that. The first thing that people will do is go to them and say, you know what, mate, if you need a chat about anything, just know I'm here. And I think people, when they look at builders, just think that we wolf whistle at women down the road, and we don't use our P's and Q's, and we're somehow Neanderthals. But actually, a lot of builders are so connected with their feelings. It's untrue, and some could be really sensitive. And it's a joy to see when you do a process like that in the morning, how everybody clubs together. And if somebody's having a bad morning, I guarantee everybody will sort of open their arms and say, mate, if you need a chat, whatever, just let me know. Or if somebody says something in the morning like, I've really been struggling with this with my partner, we've been talking about it and we haven't found a resolve, and someone else can stand up and say, do you know what, mate, I had exactly the same thing last year, and I don't know if it's helpful for you, but this is how we got through it.
And that's, that is the true sign of, and that's what I would call entrepreneurship. It's caring for each other, caring for the community. Yes, entrepreneurship is, for me, is the height of excellence. It's about talking about excellence. And, again, there's, I would look at some principles of success. And, it's looking at a low information diet. So you're not constantly bombarded with lots of information and, just having the TV on the background just as white noise. It's taking tons of imperfect action, because None of us are perfect. We're all going to make mistakes. It's having a good, healthy sense of humour about yourself and know that you're going to make tons of imperfect actions. It's, embracing the risks and the challenges. Well, we do that every day of our lives, embracing the risks and the challenges, But what is also important is to go on an excuse fast. Excuses they're part of the past. So you need to be on an excuse fast. No more excuses. Choose to be confident. Keep your promises. Re-engage when you find that you've become disengaged. Because we have a tendency to stand there and whip ourselves, hair, shirt. Oh, I fucked up here. And then we go off down a story and drama about the fact that you've disconnected instead of reconnecting. And, we can't always do things on our own. So get support. Get support with what you are trying to create. It's real important, and mastering transformation basically has two parts. Getting super clear about the positive transformation you're making, either for your friends, family, clients, customers, and then becoming absolutely masterful at catalyzing and supporting that transformation. Okay? And part two, transforming yourself into the person you need to be in order to support this kind of transformation in others. See you after the break.
See you after the break.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers, pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
We are talking about your life. Ever wonder, is this as good as it gets? No, it could be so much better. At Acorn to Oak, we know you are seeking more happiness, joy, unconditional love, financial freedom, passion, and purpose. Find your unique mojo and live an extraordinary life. Want to know more? Contact us at our website, acorntooak.org.uk.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
So hi, welcome back again. Obviously we've been talking about epic spiritual entrepreneurship, and we've been talking about all sorts of different things. So I hope we've served you well with that. And very much what I wanted to do in this last section is for those people who are actually looking at, what purpose do I have? Or if I was creating a business, or, again, I've worked with hundreds of people who've set up in private practice and helping them get clarity on, what hours they want to work and how they do it, and marketing strategies and how they can actually get their genius out to more and more people so that they can serve their own communities. So, if you're looking at what my purpose, so again, I will talk obviously about myself, and I'm sure Matthew will be able to add some stuff about his purpose and everything else that's going on for him. Is the first part of looking at it is finding out or having a brainstorm around your purpose and then writing down a short statement. So if I'm talking about Penny Quaile-Pearce, I'm talking about my purpose is to guide and encourage epic spiritual entrepreneurs to gain the knowledge, wisdom, excellence, emotional intelligence, experiences and strategies that will help them become game changers, thought leaders, original content providers, and awesome examples of inner spiritual warriors and wise counsel. So that's my purpose. I choose, second question, I choose to create a world where everybody and everything is respected and loved. Third question, I am helping to create a world where everybody takes responsibility for themselves and their actions and behaviours and tells the absolute complete truth with excellent emotional intelligence. Next question or statement. My dream is to take Acorn to Oak to global success. My heart tells me to dream big, play bigger, and take sustainable action. Then the last part basically is if I could create anything I wanted, I would create a movement of like-minded people, a community of people dedicated to changing the world into a family of humanity who serve to help to serve each other unreservedly. And then the last one, I am committed to my own self-realization. So Matthew, he's going to go, oh no, I haven't written anything down.
I haven't rehearsed anything. Yeah, and I think just to explain to people as well, how do you get to that stage? So it's awesome that Penny has so much clarity around that, but I don't know what I want to do. If I explain how I got through my process, I think it would help others gain clarity around where they want to go. So some of the issues I dealt with when I was younger, or my main core issues with my emotional stuff, was childhood abuse, addictions in my mid-20s, and huge anger issues. Now, when you start digging into yourself and you think, oh, well, those things weren't necessarily so great in my life, they can actually be pure gold. So for me, when setting up practice, I'm a specialist in addictions. So that for me really resonated when Penny first said you're an expert in addictions because you've lived it, you've breathed it, and you've been through it. And it's the same with the anger issues, and also some of the child abuse issues. So very much when I was going through, where would
Okay, I've lost you. Is it just quiet noise? Do I need to jump in? Okay. There's nothing like a live show. so well, hopefully we'll get Matthew back. But basically, as he was saying, obviously I know some of his story. You know, some of the issues that we have, some of the things that we think are traumatic, once we've transformed them and we've moved through them, we become incredibly passionate to help other people who are going through some similar things. And as Matthew was sharing, you know, one of his issues that he had in his mid-20s was addiction. So he is actually working with people who have addictions and does a fantastic work around it. He's also helps people who've suffered from child abuse, and he is particularly strong, obviously, when he is helping either young male children, or actually, you know, if they're dealing with it later on in their lives, in their 40s, 30s or 40s, he is the go-to guy to help men get a sense of completion, and really helps them deal with an awful lot. And as part of that, as he quite rightly said, he suffered a lot from outbursts of rage and did some anger management, which was not very successful for him. But he went on and dealt with his anger issues, and very much holds a space for men to be able to get in touch with their anger issues. And actually, you know, when a man helps a man, there's some sort of magical bond that takes place. And it's fantastic to see that. You know, I have people who are working with me as epic spiritual entrepreneurs, and you know, they have had all sorts of different issues in their lives, and they suddenly realize that actually was the tuition fee for them to become an expert in that field. And you know, it is really important to realize that some of the scars and some of the trauma that we've been through actually is providing us with amazing lessons and amazing wisdom that can be a huge resource to help other people deal with similar issues. And, you know, this is why I love helping and encouraging, you know, epic spiritual entrepreneurs gain the knowledge and the wisdom and the excellent emotional intelligence to help them become the game changers, the thought leaders, the original content providers, and just the, you know, incredible, awesome inner spiritual warriors who have the ability to be the wise counsel for others. And I get incredibly passionate about it. And I'm chatting away and hoping that Matthew will rejoin us at some stage so he can add his little part. Hopefully I have done him proud on explaining a little bit more about his slant. You know, for me, it's, you know, entrepreneurship, as you've heard me say, it's a real genius at work when you get, you know, a circle of epic spiritual entrepreneurs together, pooling their knowledge, looking at the skills that they have, being in joint ventures together, actually moving and becoming an awesome force on this planet at this time. You know, it helps, one of, I think sometimes the side effects of being a thought leader and, a game changer is that you can feel quite lonely and not necessarily interacting with people who are on that level of expertise. And it's really important for these types of people to mix and gain even more creativity, even more ideas, and moving and shifting and cooperating with each other. So that is one of the things that I like to encourage within Acorn to Oak, is this cross-pollination of modalities and expertise and ways of looking at things. So, that's one of the reasons that we love this show, is to get out there and share our message. So I hope you gain something from that, and I hope, if you decide that you would like to be in touch with us with any of your questions, by all means come to us via the website, which is www.acorntooak.org.uk, and you can leave a comment or a message for us, or you can get in touch with me, Pennie Quaile-Pearce, and I'm Pennie, which is PENNIE at acorntooak.org.uk, and you can ask questions or just say, I was inspired by that. I'm not a budding spiritual entrepreneur, but hey, would you give me some a little bit of ideas of what maybe I've got this idea about this business that I would like to create. And it doesn't have to be, as I said, you could be making spiritual sausages. It's, it doesn't really matter how you want to serve people, but it is the, obviously being the change and being in profound service to the human family, which is really, really important, I think. So, as I've said, if the takeaways here is, look at if you have a business idea that you would like to float, talk it through with a family member or a friend, or bring it, to Acorn to Oak if you so wish. It's looking at, okay, so there's certain steps and strategies that you need to put into place. Is it a good idea? Is it not? I mean, we are in a very lucky age in some ways, is, put out a couple of questions on Facebook and find out what type of feedback you get. Look at Instagram or Twitter and just say, hey, I'm thinking of this idea. And, everybody's got an opinion. You may not want to listen to some of the opinions, but also you will get a pretty much a balanced view of whether people think it's a good idea or not a good idea. If you're passionate about something, then maybe you don't want to share it with your friends and family. Maybe you want to actually share it and go, do you think this idea will float? And by all means, as I said, you can use Acorn to Oak just to send through, what do you think of this idea? And, I also ran a brand called The Truth Is. So I will tell you the truth in the best and most graceful way that I can. And I may ask for some more information, but I will very much, I have no problem looking at it and going, yeah, I think this is going to work, or I just need a little bit more information on, your thinking around this and what actually is the message that you would like to get out there. So it's a really interesting subject, and if you are deciding to become an epic spiritual entrepreneur, or whether you're just interested in entrepreneurship, I wish you well, and I hope that you remember that quarter of that pie is having fun on the journey, enjoying the journey of, because it is a journey. When you're creating anything that's a new project or a new idea and you want to take it to market, it is great fun. It's incredibly challenging on occasions, but it is well worth the journey. It's just making sure that you realize that you need to be the change. Okay? So if you want to bring a change, you need to be that change. In other words, you need to be in alignment with your vision 100%. Okay? Otherwise, doubts will creep in and you may well have a little bit more of a rocky ride into entrepreneurship. So it's been wonderful to be here this evening, and we're really looking forward to being with you next week. And I know you guys are getting ready for the 4th of July, so enjoy that time, and we'll see you soon. Take care.